The first thing I want to say, why the hell would you tell people to avoid going to a place of worship? Like, it seems counterintuitive when a person's trying to, I don't know, kill people in a place of worship, trying to keep people from doing that sort of thing. It's kind of dumb. Like, when there were terrorist attacks in churches going on around here, you didn't often hear that, but then again, it was not always called a terrorist attack if that happened. Usually it was just called violence or some angry husband. But anyway, there was a terrorist attack in New Zealand. Apparently, someone wanted to sow discord, and I've actually, honestly, I first heard it through breaking news last night, and all of a sudden, you learn so much within just a few hours. It's only I saw it yesterday night before getting ready for bed. It's sad what's going on here, but wow, information travels fast. So, the horrific shooting at two mosques in Christchurch, New Zealand, was designed from the start to get attention, leveraging social media to make sure as many people as possible would hear about the deaths and the hate underpinning them. Officials have reported a significant number of people are dead from attacks at two mosques. Several people have been arrested so far. New Zealand police have told people to avoid mosques and told mosques to shut their doors. I really don't like the idea of being told to shut their doors. That's not the point of a place of worship. Like, I'm not Muslim, but still, this is... It makes the police seem, I don't know, what's the word for it? Well, I can understand what they're doing, but it's just not something that you say to people who want to go to a place of worship. It's not something you should say. A 17-minute video that seemed to show the shooting was posted to Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. A post on 8chan, a message board included links to a manifesto and a Facebook page where the poster and alleged shooter said a live stream of the attack would be broadcast. Facebook has removed the page and the video, but the video has already traveled. The New Zealand massacre was live streamed on Facebook, announced on 8chan, reposted on YouTube, commented about on Reddit, and mirrored around the world before the tech companies could even react. Both the video and the manifesto are designed to maximize attention. Early in the video, the shooter says, "Remember lads, subscribe to PewDiePie," a reference to YouTuber Felix Kjellberg, who has a history of promoting anti-Semitism, which is not true, by the way. I just want to say, because I watch PewDiePie all the time, I can say that he is not an anti-Semite. Kjellberg's channel has the most subscribers on YouTube, 89 million, and he has been attempting to recruit more so that he won't be overtaken by another YouTube channel T-Series. A reference to this contest forces Kjellberg to disavow the shootings, which is exactly what he did. "I feel absolutely sickened having my name uttered by this person," Kjellberg said to his 17 million followers on Twitter. Kjellberg's position is unenviable. If he hadn't disavowed the shootings immediately, it's possible someone would have suggested his channel was somehow an inspiration to the killer or killers, which I can say that's really kind of a dumb way of doing things. I know why this killer said this. He's trying to turn more people against PewDiePie, which is sickening, to be perfectly honest. It's really sickening to say this, that some popular celebrity who's just all he's doing is fooling around. He's like a forever young type of guy who's fooling around, although he has grown up a bit. But it's, the the things that this guy has to go through, it's disgusting how people are treating PewDiePie right now. It's like, this Verge article was also will also make people aware of the mass shootings and their message of hate. But there is no way to discuss the bizarre internet dynamics around them without also telling people that they happened. I am sympathetic to Kjellberg precisely because I am in the same position. The manifesto linked to the shootings is decidedly racist. Early on, it's referenced white genocide, a neo-Nazi conspiracy theory that white people are being replaced, and the 14 words, a white supremacist slogan. It also professes admiration for other white supremacist killers. The racism itself is sincere. It did, after all, lead to mass killings. But other parts of the manifesto seem to contain buzzwords meant to galvanize its spread. For instance, though the author of the manifesto claims to be Australian, and one person in custody is Australian born, the document contains multiple references to the Second Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. Mass shootings in America have led to heated debate about gun laws, with proponents of the Second Amendment arguing that gun control is unconstitutional. Now, this is another thing that the killer was trying to cause, like more division among the Second Amendment. I'm a gun owner. I own a few guns in my house, and with good reason. 1, for sports. 2, because some asshole won't stop stealing my shit. Excuse me for the language, but honestly, there's technically a third reason. It's one of the reasons why we won the American Revolution. I mean, we wouldn't have won had we had weaponry, because while they did have muskets, what the Americans had were outdated weaponry, and the British had the best weapons money can buy. They had training, they had better uniforms, they had everything, and the Americans had muskets and very, very little bullets. But that's let's just continue. The manifesto, which is 73 pages long, tends toward name dropping. I really should read this manifesto to see what else it's talking about, because it's obvious that this person is trying to sow discord among everyone. So it mentions Candace Owens, an American conservative pundit, as well as the video games Fortnite and Spyro the Dragon. There's this. I see why he said he was Australian born. There's this thing going on in Australia about Fortnite being really bad and encouraging violence. Not as much as in America at the moment, but in Australia, you got these crazy people coming out saying that Fortnite is encouraging violence and these gang killings, even though they've been happening way before then. So these references seem geared toward creating certain kinds of narratives in the media that will keep the terrorism in the news. The shooter or shooters want to stay in the news. The reference to other white supremacist killers are the giveaway. These high-profile killings are meant to frighten innocent people and recruit other white supremacists. Without attention, the crimes are meaningless to the people who committed them. Mass shootings generally are meant to get people's attention. Social media has weakened or destroyed many of the gatekeepers that shield the general public from exposure to this kind of violence. Before the internet, it was unusual for anyone beside the police and the media to receive these kinds of materials. Now it's possible for them to be passed around quickly, reaching a broad audience. In 2015, a shooter in Bridgewater, Virginia, killed his victims on live television and uploaded the video to Twitter and Facebook. In order to attract your attention, both platforms default to autoplay playing videos, a default that caters to advertisers. After that shooting, nothing changed at either platform, and so users were exposed to atrocities again in the killings live streamed from Christchurch. The original live stream would have been hard to prevent, but the re-uploads which autoplayed disseminated the horror to a much larger audience. I have a pretty mixed reviews on showing graphic content. Honestly, it's horrifying to have to look at it, but I don't think people will understand how horrifying these things actually are unless they actually see it. They say no one should, but we'll never learn to sympathize or completely sympathize, in my opinion, if we don't show some of these things, because people will look at the other side and they'll think the same things some of these killers have thought, and think that these people are not deserving of life and try to kill them, and they have never seen death before in their life. I think that if we show these things, it will discourage other people from doing it. That's what I'm saying. The quick spread of both the videos and the manifesto tells us how inadequate moderation is on the internet, assuming moderation exists at all. The video has been popping up again and again on YouTube and Twitter. It's honestly going to be impossible to get rid of these videos at this point. You can try banning it as much as you want, but it's already out there. You know, it's the internet. Once something comes up, it never goes away. And people are figuring out ways to get around the company's filters. Mediafire and Mega host the manifesto. Both are routinely... Well, why are you trying to science the manifesto? How are we supposed to learn... stop these type of things unless we look at the manifesto? If you get rid of the manifesto that no one can look at, you're going to listen to the news media, and they're going to omit a lot of things in order to support their agenda. You shouldn't try to ban this reading. Otherwise, you're only going to make things worse. Both are routinely used to post illicit material because they offer little to no oversight. It also appears on script. The person or people involved in the slaughter had copied the previous terrorist attacks on people of color. Mass shootings may be contagious, and the more people who perpetrate them are glamorized through media coverage, the more copycats there are likely to be. But it isn't just mass media, TV, newspapers, and major websites that we now have to worry about as people become savvier about how to seize attention through social media. The major platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and Google, will have to figure out how to stop the dissemination of these materials, as well as the praise or support of the terrorist attacks like this one. Otherwise, they risk inspiring more copycat killings. I think what inspires them more is giving the person more attention. And that's the hard thing. People want to get the news out there, but when they get the news out there, they face that risk of showing these things. But I don't think that they should silence people who are trying to learn about what happened. Because if we don't know what's going on, then we're just what do you call it? A dystopia? Someone's just hiding everything that's going on? Tell people that everything's all hunky-dory? I don't think that they should completely silence everything that's going on. But they should try to keep, giving this guy so much attention at a minimum, but that's not going to happen. That's all. But what I don't understand is why they're saying for Facebook, Twitter, and Google to silence all this, because why not, newspapers or news companies like this one? That's my question. you're giving attention to him, to it, to what's been happening. So does this count? Or are you saying that the manifesto, which you have quoted and mentioned here, should only be available to the news websites? Because I don't think that's right, because news websites have very recently been guilty of trying to cause harm to people, including to people like Nicholas Sandman. Honestly, I don't know how to fix all these or stop all these mass shootings. I think, honestly, these churches need to start getting more security, because these people are so rampant, and it happens so often. You're better off creating more security for schools and churches than trying to go after them. There are people who say a good offense is having a great defense, and I think you need to start playing defensively rather than playing offensively. And in a way, you can see it working in some places. There was a gunman at a school trying to take his kid, and he's divorced. He's trying to take his kid from school, and the cops were there. And he tried to shoot the cops that were trying to get him to leave. Well, actually, they were arresting him at this point, but he tried to shoot them. He could have shot up that school if there were no cops there. If teachers were trying to get him to leave, because mostly of the time teachers are not armed, unless you're living in one of them other schools that's meant to shoot hyenas that are all over the place. I can't remember where that is, but honestly, that's one option, because we've been chasing guns so much, and it's extremely difficult, and because you're going to ban guns. About half the country in America owns guns, and half the people who own guns are not going to be very happy about their guns being taken away, especially for some of those living in places where they are at risk of being robbed or killed. Okay, I have to worry about copperhead snakes running around. Well, they don't run. They don't have legs, but I have to worry about copperhead snakes, and I have to worry about people breaking into my house. I have lost thousands of dollars worth of computers and bikes because of robbers. And luckily, so far, I've never been hurt because of these things. But it happens. It happens to everyone. Everyone's at risk of running into harm. And not to mention the fact that in a lot of places, like in Memphis here, you don't have enough cops. There are not enough cops around, and the justice system is outright terrible. People here don't get sentenced for very long when they commit murder. There was even a teenager who should have gone to juvie. He was just let out scot-free. Our justice system is extremely bad in this regard, and it's so lax on these murders that go on around here. It's stupid. And all they talk about is going after guns. First things first, please fix your justice system, because these criminals running around, a lot of times they're let go before people like Paul Manafort, who's facing 6 to 7 years in jail, which I think is unfair, because you're charging people for tax evasion and mortgage faking more than murderers at this point. But honestly, this is already causing so much controversy. It's like people are already jumping at this. They're people have been trying for a very long time to get PewDiePie banned. For a very long time, and I hope it doesn't come to that. But if it does happen, a lot of people are going to be angry. Okay, as far as I can tell, PewDiePie's in the UK. The UK is like they could arrest him for any reason because he's already said things that about India that would get you arrested for less. There's going to be some crazy things going on in these past few weeks, I gotta say. It's sad what's going on. But I'm gonna stop here. I'm gonna let all you guys go. Stay safe. You might want to buy a vest, maybe two. You know, just to avoid getting hurt if something bad happens. Because honestly, I feel like I really want to buy a vest at this point. It's just not as safe as it used to be.